Here's a question that used to be pure science fiction, but now it's a very real geopolitical problem. In the coming battle for the cosmos, who actually owns the moon?
So, who owns the moon? It sounds like a simple question, right? But believe me, the answer is getting more and more complicated by the day. You see, a new space race is heating up, and this time, it's not about flags and footprints. It's about profit.
And look, this isn't just some far-off idea. One journal put it perfectly. We're at the dawn of a new industrial revolution among the stars. Yeah, the final frontier? It's quickly turning into the next economic frontier.
So what we're really talking about here is a new gold rush. The whole romantic idea of space exploration for its own sake, well, that's kind of giving way to straight-up commercial exploitation. And it's all being driven by the absolutely incredible resources just waiting for us out there in space.
And the value we're talking about, it's just staggering. I mean, you've got helium-3, which could be a clean fuel for nuclear fusion. You've got platinum group metals that we need for industry right here on Earth, not to mention rare earth elements for all our electronics. And then there's water ice. Now that might not sound exciting, but you can turn that ice into rocket fuel. We're talking about creating cosmic gas stations to help us get to missions even deeper in space. This is basically the treasure map for the 21st century. Okay, but hold on. Before anyone could just start digging, the world knew it had to agree on some ground rules. And that first big attempt to create a kind of cosmic law, while people have called it the Magna Carta of space.
So this was the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. And you have to remember, this was hammered out right in the middle of the Cold War, which makes it a pretty remarkable achievement. The main goal? Simple. To stop the space race from turning into a full-blown space war. To make sure the cosmos would stay peaceful for everyone.
All right, so the treaty had three main ideas. Number one, no country can plant a flag on the moon and call it theirs. Number two, whatever we do in space, it has to benefit all of humanity. And number three, nations are on the hook for everything that happens up there under their watch, and that includes private companies. But did you catch what's missing? The treaty says nothing, absolutely nothing, about whether a company can own the stuff they dig up. And that silence, right there, that created the legal loophole that the entire modern space industry is now rocketing through. Now, the international community definitely saw that loophole, so they tried to close it with another agreement. It was a really noble idea, but as you're about to see, it was a vision that just didn't pan out.
This new attempt was the 1979 Moon Agreement, and its whole purpose was to tackle that ownership question head-on. It was built around this beautifully idealistic idea.
This agreement basically said the moon and all its natural resources are the common heritage of mankind. The thinking behind it was pretty straightforward. If the moon belongs to all of us, then its treasures should be shared with all of us, especially with developing nations that, couldn't get up there by themselves. Sounds like a fantastic idea, doesn't it? A vision of shared prosperity for all. So how many countries actually ratified it? Get ready for this. Only 18. And here's the kicker. Not a single one of the major spacefaring powers signed on. We're talking the United States, Russia, China, none of the countries that could actually get to the moon and start mining. Why? Well, they saw all this talk of mandatory profit sharing as a total roadblock to innovation. So the Moon Agreement, it just became this orphaned treaty, a really beautiful idea with absolutely no teeth. So with that big international approach basically dead in the water, a whole new race began. Instead of working together, individual nations just started writing their own rulebooks. They started creating what are pretty much finders-keepers laws for space. And man, it happened fast. In 2015, the US passes a law that says, yep, our companies can own and sell whatever they mine in space. Then, hot on their heels, Luxembourg does it in 2017. Japan joins the party in 2021. All that old cooperative spirit was just gone, replaced by everyone just doing their own thing. So as you can imagine, this has kicked off a huge legal debate. On one side, you've got the high seas argument. It goes like this. Nobody owns the ocean, right? But a fishing crew for sure owns the fish they catch. So they argue that just extracting resources isn't the same as claiming territory. But then you've got the other side, and they call this celestial colonialism. They say it's just a fancy legal loophole for a cosmic land grab, and that it's only going to benefit the rich countries and powerful corporations who can afford to get there in the first place. All this legal chaos brings up another really urgent question. In this new cosmic gold rush,
Who's responsible when things go wrong? Who cleans up the mess? I mean, really think about it for a second. What happens when some private asteroid mining mission accidentally crashes into a vital satellite? Or what if a lunar operation contaminates a site that's incredibly important for science? Who pays for that? Who's liable? The thing is, the law we have on the books, the 1972 Liability Convention, it's just full of what you could call legal black holes. For starters, how do you even define damage? If a mining rover rolls over the Apollo footprints and erases them forever, does that count? And how in the world do you prove fault when accidents can be caused by anything from a solar flare to a tiny meteorite? The old treaty says nations are liable for their private companies, but seriously, how is a government supposed to monitor a mining operation that's millions of miles away? And this is not some theoretical problem for the future. Right now, we are tracking over 27,000 pieces of junk, orbital debris, circling the Earth. Every single launch, every new mining mission just adds to the risk of a collision or contamination. It's a growing threat to everything we do in space. So, it all comes down to this. We're at a crossroads, facing a really fundamental choice about our future beyond this planet. We have a choice between two very, very different paths. And let's be clear, the stakes could not be higher. The rules we're writing for space right now, they're not just about property rights. They're a mirror. They reflect who we are as a species. Are we going to be conquerors of the cosmos, or are we going to be caretakers of its incredible promise? We're standing right on the edge of becoming a species that lives on more than one planet. And the big question is, are we just going to export all our earthly mistakes, all the competition, all the damage, out into the stars? Or can we actually learn from our past and forge a new, better, more sustainable path out there? That choice, it's being made as we speak.